Intro from Mansoul, a John Bunyan classic as told by Ethel Barrett. Chapter 5 The Politics of Diabolus. Things did go comfortably from bad to worse, running more or less on their own momentum now that Diabolus had set up the machinery. After he had satisfied himself that the only officials who would serve his ends were in power, he was free to turn his mind to other projects. His hours in his office were full. There was no end of things to do. Mopping up operations. Officials and underlings streamed through his office endlessly. Master? Yes, yes. Mr. No Truth to see you. Oh, yes, I sent for him. Have him come in. And he would chortle and check his cigar box and seat his guest and rub his hands and talk if the guest were a Mansoulian. But he would get right down to business if the guest were one of his own. Mr. No Truth, there's a seal on the castle gates. Yes, sire, the seal of Never mind that. You know I cannot bear the mention of his name. I am sorry, sire. Anyway, this seal of... It makes me nervous. I understand. You understand? I didn't call you here to take up my time with sympathy. Do something about it. What would you have me do, sire? Deface it, distort it, dismantle it. My pleasure, sire. I'll do it at once. Besides, it is more fitting that my seal be put up there. Of course, sire. I was just about to mention it. And no truth? Yes, sire. There's another seal of just like it, down in the market square. Could you take care of that one too? My pleasure. And so things went. Symbols, seals, laws, and statutes were either destroyed, twisted, or touched up to suit the new government, but the work was never done. For it was one thing to take a town and quite another thing to keep it. Some of the projects were on a more gigantic scale. Diabolus would chortle and fuss and argue in turn with his engineers, wanting to know every detail. Are these the latest blueprints? Yes, sire. This fort is to be built next to the Eye Gate, a most strategic spot, both to command the town and to keep light from getting in. I'm going to call it the Hold of Defiance. Good name, huh? Oh, yes, sire. And I'm going to commission Mr. Spike God to command it. He will watch over it with diligence, I'm sure. Good man. There were other forts, and Diabolus was happy. He hummed and bustled and gawked, sidewalk superintending while they were being built. One could find him almost any afternoon snooping about one or another. There was Midnight Hold, built next to the castle of ex-mayor Lord Understanding, to keep Mansoulians from discovering what fools they were. When it was finished and a commander was needed, Mr. Love-No-Light was just the man for the job. And there was Diabolus's favorite, built right in the market square for all to see. He called it Sweet Sin Hold, and commissioned Mr. Loveflesh to command it. That was the last major project for the present, and after it was finished, Diabolus went back to his castle to muse over what he had done and to gloat. Indeed, he had plenty to gloat over. He had taken Mansoul, lock, stock, and barrel, settled himself and his army within, put down old officers, set up new ones, defaced the great seal of Shaddai, set up his own, spoiled old law books, promoted his own lies, made new magistrates, set up new aldermen, built new forts, and manned them. Why, it's practically foolproof, he said. I haven't left a loophole, not one. Whereupon he crouched uncomfortably in one of his favorite positions and dreamed him a dream of power and more power. And that's the way he was when the awful news reached him. What Diabolus hadn't known was that even as ear gate of Mansoul was being thrown open on that fateful day, a messenger was on his way to the far country of the great King Shaddai to tell him that Mansoul had fallen. In fact, had delivered itself into enemy hands. And in that evening, as Diabolus was poring over plans for remodeling, that same messenger was standing before the great king and his son in open court, with all the high lords, captains, and nobles there to hear. The messenger's report was faithful in announcing that, item, Diabolus has come upon Mansoul with craft, blandishment, subtlety, lies, and guile, and item. He had treacherously slain the right noble Captain Resistance as he stood upon the wall, and item. The Lord Innocency had fallen down dead with a sinking spell, some say with grief, and item. That varlet Illpause had made a short oration to the townsmen in behalf of his master Diabolus, and item. The simple town, believing that what was said was true, had with one consent opened Eargate and let the Vandals in, and item. Diabolus had stripped Lord Mayor Understanding and Mr. Conscience, the town recorder, of all their powers and all their rights, and item. Lord Will-be-will had turned traitor and pledged allegiance to the renegade giant and was granted great powers that he was using to do mischief, and item. The new mayor and recorder were Lord Lustings and Mr. Forgetgood, and item. Diabolus had built several strong towers, forts, and strongholds to fortify Mansoul against Shaddai's influence, and item. The list of aldermen and burgesses was scandalous, and so on and on, all of it. And the bad news, well, it jolted Diabolus right out of his favorite position. What did you say? He asked one of his intelligence officers as he was uncrouching himself. The account of all your doings was delivered in open court, said the briefing officer. The king and his son Emmanuel and the high lords and chief captains and nobles were all present. Yes, I know all that. There was sorrow and grief to think that Mansoul was lost. Yes, the other. Get to the other. King Shaddai and his son, Prince Emmanuel, foresaw all this when they first made the universe. Yes, get on. They planned that at an affixed time, Prince Emmanuel would pay for Mansoul's rebellion by his own death, and that Shaddai would raise him from the dead. Diabolus hissed and rocked his head back and forth in his hands. There was a long silence. Finally he said, Go on. We may as well have it all. It has already been done. Mansoul is redeemed, bought, paid for. It's what I thought you said, Diabolus said wearily, but I didn't believe it. Now, have you repeated everything? Is there more? There is more. Diabolus's eyes grew bright like burning coals, stirred up and glowing. Say on. They have drawn up a record, telling of all these things, said the intelligence officer quickly, backing away. Under the supervision of the Lord High Secretary in Shaddai's court, it is to be published. It's called the Word of Shaddai, the Bible. And that's not all. All then, the rest of it, quickly. Emmanuel intends to make war on you, even now while you're still here, and take the town of Mansoul back and live in it. Diabolus flew into action. He pressed desk buzzers and pulled bell cords and had his staff getting stuck in doorways attempting to carry out his orders. Where's Apollyon? He was going on liberty, sire. He cancel it. But Beelzebub was going to cover him for him, sire, and cancel it. Cancel all liberties. Yes, sire. Our enemy slumbers not, neither shall we. No, sire. Put all my warlords on alert. They're to stand by, on call. Yes, sire. And all through that forenoon, Diabolus's voice rang through the castle. Get some posters printed giving the townspeople new liberties. Permission to do as they please. The worse the better. Let down the censorship. Anything goes. In literature, in songs, in plays. Everything. Anything. That'll keep them busy for a while. It ought to weaken them, too. And perhaps it will convince Prince Emmanuel that they're not worth saving. Somebody get in touch with Mr. Forgetgood. I want Conscience to have a sleeping pill. Call for a new vote of confidence. We'll have parades and music and speeches and get them all whipped up, and then I'll ask for a new pledge of allegiance. Send me Will-be-will. I'll handle him. He may be dangerous. I'll have to butter him up a bit. He's the only one who... Oh, it's you, Apollyon. About time you came. I heard the emergency, sire. Came as soon as I could. The others are on their way. We must keep the news from getting in, Apollyon. What if it does? Some of it is bound to trickle in. Twist it. It's the only thing to do. Twist it. Tell them Emmanuel is coming to destroy instead of to save. Tell them they'll lose their liberty. You have to know how to handle these things with finesse. Will is the only one. You are the master of the spurious, sire. Yes, that is why I'm king of Mansoul. Will is the only one who can turn the tide. Who, sire? Will be Will, Diabolus turned to an underling. Let me know when Wilby Will arrives. Lord Wilby Will has arrived, sir. He is waiting in your anteroom now. Good, show him in. And get me a ghostwriter to write me a speech. I'm going to address the people of Mansoul in the market square. Apollyon started for a side door. All of you stand by. Tell the others, said Diabolus after him, we have one thing in our favor, and that is that Mansoul still has free will. They stared at each other for a long moment. And close the door after you, said Diabolus finally. Chapter 6. Diabolus finds support in Mansoul. Then Wilby Will entered. Diabolus was sitting behind his desk, rubbing his hands together. His eyes had paled, his face was confident and serene, his voice oily. Sit down, my lord, he said pleasantly, and pushed the box of cigars forward. Best imported brimstone. I have them made in my own country. There's a bit of a hubbub, thank you. A bit of a hubbub about, sire, said Wilby Will, settling himself. Don't know when I've ever seen it so busy in the castle. Wilby Will, I sent for you over a matter of grave concern. I need your help, said Diabolus, getting right to the business and leaning forward in a gesture that took Wilby Will into his confidence and made them co-conspirators. It was most flattering. Wilby Will leaned forward too, unaware that he was doing so. I hear rumors, Diabolus went on, that Mansoul is about to be reduced to bondage again. No. Yes, I think, my lord, it can be no welcome news to you. I'm sure it's none to me. Shaddai and his son, Emmanuel, Diabolus explained. I do hope they are but flying stories, he added, but we cannot be too careful. I think we'd be wise to nip all such rumors that tend to trouble our people. I agree. Good. Then here's what I want you to do. First, guards at every gate. As keeper of the gates, that's your responsibility. Anyone coming to Mansoul to trade, any propaganda coming in by any means must be examined carefully and allowed in only if it is favorable to our excellent government. Yes, sire. And spies roving the streets within, let them have the power to suppress and destroy anyone plotting against us or prattling about Shaddai and Emmanuel. Yes, master. The mind grows by what it feeds on. Well spoken, master. We're having a rally in the market square. I'm addressing the townfolk. Be there. Will, I need you. Wilby Will felt himself dismissed. He bolted for the door, elated with this new conspiratorial intimacy with his master. At the door he turned. It will be a great speech, sire, he blurted out, and departed to carry out his orders. It'll be the finest piece of double talk that can be manufactured on such short notice, muttered Diabolus, as he pulled a bell cord and reached for his scratch pad. The market square was teeming with townspeople. Everyone had turned out. The speech was indeed impressive. Diabolus reminded them they were his faithful subjects and reiterated their many liberties and privileges and joys under his rule, amid great cheering and hullabaloo. Then there was a stunned silence as he told them solemnly that King Shaddai was raising an army to come and destroy them. His voice dropped to a dramatic low as he mused that he, of course, could shift for himself and escape, and then rose to an impassioned cry as he protested that nay, he would never leave them. While they were trembling on the brink of tears with the wonderfulness of it all, he pled for a new oath of loyalty, and with a sob in his voice begged them to stand or fall with him. Then they cried out as one man, "Whoever will not stand with Diabolus, let him die the death." Then let me remind you, Diabolus answered, I do not promise you an easy time. It is vain for us to hope for quarter. Shaddai will not give it. And no matter what he says, do not believe it. You'll never live with him in pleasure as you live with me. You will be bound by laws that will pinch you and be made to do things that are hateful to you. But with us, there was a great roar from the crowd. I'm for you and you're for me, he cried. The roar swelled to even greater proportions. This was a psychological moment. And so, he finished, to your arms, up and to your arms. In my castle is armor that will make you invincible to the onslaught of the enemy. There are helmets, breastplates, swords, and shields, and what not, to make you fight like men. I have samples here. They quieted to a pin-drop silence, and all strained to see. Allow me. My helmet. He held it high for all to see. This helmet is hope of getting by as you are and doing well at last, no matter. Hang on, let me try that sentence again. He held it high for all to see. This helmet is hope of getting by as you are and doing well at last, no matter what kind of lives you live. It's a piece of approved armor, and it has never failed to work. As long as you keep this on, no sword, arrow, or dart of Emmanuel can get you. And now, my breastplate. This is a breastplate of iron. I had it forged in my own country. We swear by it. In plain language, it's a hard heart. As hard as iron, and as without feeling as stone. Keep it on, and mercy won't win you, or judgment won't scare you. Most necessary. Yes, and allow me, my sword. It's an evil tongue, to speak evil of Shaddai, his son, his ways, and his people. Oh, it's devastating. Wonderful for offensive warfare. Then, of course, my shield. It's unbelief. Use it to question the truth of Shaddai's word. Question everything Shaddai says. Don't think about it, just question it. The worst thing you can do is take time to think. Those who have written of the wars of Emmanuel against my servants have testified that he could do mighty work there because of their shield of unbelief. It has done much to promote my cause. And last, he paused dramatically for effect, a dumb and prayerless spirit. Yes, in order to use my armor properly, your attitude must be right. It's as much a part of my armor as these other practices. Everything's in the attitude. You must scorn to cry for mercy. What? Cry for mercy? Blah! Where's your pride? Where's your self-respect? Where's the dignity of man and the spark of divinity in your soul? Mercy? Never. This really got to them, and they were quite carried away. He had to signal for them to quiet down so he could finish. Besides all this, I have firebrands, arrows, and death, all good hand weapons. You will be taught to use them. In closing, remember that I am your rightful king. You are under oath to me. Remember also the privileges, profits, and honors I have endowed you with. Now is the time for you to show me your appreciation and loyalty. Stand fast, overcome this one shock, and I have no doubt that in time all the world will be ours. When that day comes, I will make you kings, princes, and captains. What brave days we shall have then. The cheering was close to hysteria, and when it died down, that is all, Diablo said. An intensive program of training will go into effect at once. I declare Mansoul in a state of emergency. The crowd broke up, every man feeling already like a soldier. The streets were filled with officers in Diablos' army. How did I do? Said Diablos on the way back to the castle. It was monstrous, said Beelzebub. You were never better. They did not stick or bobble. As if it had been a sprat in the mouth of a whale, they swallowed it without any chewing, said Abalion. I especially like the "you'll be bound by laws that pinch" part, said Legion. I think that carried a lot of weight. It always does. It always does, Diablos said with satisfaction. But it's when I get to expounding on the dignity of man and the spark of divinity in the soul that I know I have made it. They love that. You forgot one thing, said Beelzebub. I did? Yes. You forgot about Gardy-Loos. You forgot to shout Gardy-Loo before you began. There's a note here for any of us who are wondering what Gardy-Loo actually means, because this was written originally in the 1600s. It was a cry used in Old England to warn passers-by to avoid slops thrown from a window. Diabolus lost no time in putting Mansoul into intensive training for warfare. Every citizen was called into service in some capacity. They were thoroughly trained to use all the accoutrements of warfare. The helmet of the hope of getting by as you are and doing well at last, the breastplate of the hard heart, and the sword of the evil tongue, the shield of unbelief. And as they practiced and drilled, the attitude of a dumb and prayerless spirit became a way of life. Will came and went, bustling and important, a dapper figurehead respected by all in town. Mr. Conscience was up again, down again. His naps were longer, and he was no bother to anyone. Lord Understanding bumbled about in his castle in darkness. Everyone went on his own way and did what seemed right in his own sight. Now all of this was accomplished none too soon, for already the first part of King Shaddai's great army was on the way.